So a little walk-off history for everyone. We had our first episode ever, July 6th of 2020. So we are right in that 5-year realm. We're 2 days off here from our 5-year anniversary, but uh, it's going to pass before we're podcasting again, Adam.
Back
So I
again.
figured I'd bring it up. And in that time, in those 5 years, do you know how many times we have done an episode where the Toronto Blue Jays are in first place in the division in the middle of the summer?
Um, is this our first one?
This is the first one.
Really?
This is our first
That's
podcast
wild.
in July where we are talking about a division leading Toronto Blue Jays team, and
So,
I love it.
so you know what's crazy is that more times than we've done this, we've uploaded episodes that had zero audio
Yes,
because we've done that multiple times. I for sure we've done that where we've
we
uploaded a
have
video with zero audio.
we have put out more episodes with zero audio than we have talked about the Blue Jays being in first place in their division in July. And
Amazing.
what a nice, I'm like literally now I'm double checking that I'm all plugged in here and that the audio is running. I'm seeing levels. We're okay.
Okay.
But holy shit. Love to see it. Hello and welcome, everybody. It is the walk off. We're going to call it our 5-year anniversary episode. Why not? I'm Scott Belford, joined as always by the best co host in the biz, Adam Mack. Let me tell you, folks, we could not do this without you. And so thank you to every single one of you who has ever hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, listened to an episode, written in, contributed to mailbag, whatever it is. We do appreciate you, the grounds crew. And what a way to bring in 5 years with our favorite team on the planet in first place of the AL East, coming off a 4-game sweep of the New York Yankees. And oh my
Yeah.
God, Adam, Yankees Twitter is beautiful right now. They are in shambles.
I've been doing nothing but listening to John Boy
It's
podcasts
beautiful.
and oh yeah, it's great.
It is so great, man. It is so nice to see the shoe on the other foot. Lots to talk about here. We're obviously going to dive into the week's studs and duds. We are talking the beast in the
Controversial one this week, by the way. Spoiler
Okay.
alert.
Okay.
Controversial studs and duds this week.
Of course, you can drop your comments about all those controversies, everybody. Yeah, just we'll circle back for mailbag and see how you're feeling. We're going to talk the beast in the AL East, which of course is the Toronto Blue Jays. Nathan Lucas, best fourth outfielder in baseball. I argue he is. We're going to talk George Springer. I mean, this is just basically the apology tour, the walk-off apology tour to George Springer at this point. The man has taken every negative comment that we have said over the last 2 years and shoved it right back down our throat. And I always say, you know what? Guys struggle, sometimes for a week, sometimes for the lifespan of a toddler. But you know what? To see a guy come out of it after 2 years,
Okay.
it is
That's a grim
beautiful to
analogy.
see. It is beautiful to see. We're going to talk the trade deadline and some of the untouchables on the farm, if there are any. How all in will this team be? We'd love to hear from you. And then last, but definitely not least, this upcoming Angels series here in Toronto and the upcoming schedule leading into the All-Star break. Let's start with Baseball Town. Baseball Town, July 10th. So, 6 days from right now. And we are going to be celebrating the walk-off's 5-year anniversary there. Obviously, breaks my heart, buddy, that you're not able to come down for this one, but you we're gonna make it
Next year.
happen at some point, Adam. I know it's gotta come
Yeah.
into fruition. So that is going to be at the Comedy Bar, Ossington and Bloor. Tickets for that, $25. However, for you, the grounds crew, if you use the coupon code baseball, that's going to save you $5. Tickets are only $20. We have a first place team in the division to talk about. We have JD Bunkus from Sportsnet and the JD Bunkus podcast on the panel. We've got good friend of the show, Jen Smith, Baseball Jen. And then we are also going to have on the panel, rounding things out, actor, comedian from The Boys, from Umbrella Academy, Tom Henry. Very excited about that. We also have Angelica Scanura and Cam Phoenix coming back. These two, they're a couple. They're our favorite baseball couple on Baseball Town. They are comedians and they are roast masters. And they just had a kid and haven't been able to come out over the 2025 Baseball Town series. But making their reappearance on this big show, it's going to be the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Baltimore Orioles. And I cannot wait to see what those two have up their sleeves for their roast. So, again, please, if you have not come to a show, it is worth checking out. We're right now, I'm excited. Tickets are actually going pretty good right now. We're at 22 tickets sold. We're hoping to push over that 50 or 60 mark. It is going to be a room full of Blue Jays fans talking baseball. It's going to be the most cathartic thing ever for all of us to get out there and get out of our families who are like, enough. You've spoken too much Blue Jays over the last week. I understand they're doing well, but I don't want to hear about it. So you can leave those people behind and come where it's a safe space to just overdo your Blue Jays fandom. Um, Thursday, we'll see you there. On that, let's dive into talking the best team in the American League East, buddy. And they did so off an incredible week. So I'm very excited to hear your three studs and a dud because we have some guys doing some incredible stuff, some heavy lifting for a team that right now is without their starting everyday center fielder, Dalton Varsho, is without their designated hitter and big offseason acquisition in Anthony Santander, is just went through this New York series without their starting shortstop and superstar Bo Bichette. You know, they just lost Andre Jimenez to an ankle twist. Like they are doing things that they should not probably be doing with guys that you wouldn't expect to be doing it. So on that, Adam, what do you got for us, buddy?
Okay, three studs and a dud. Stud number three, Addison Barger. 3 home runs this week, 8 RBIs, a 1.239 OPS.
Jeez.
Barger continues to mash. The strikeouts are high. 2 walks versus 8 strikeouts. But I don't care.
I don't care either, man. Like the amount of bop that this gives the middle of the order. It's what this team has needed for literally years since getting rid of
Yeah,
Teoscar Hernandez, basically. And is this lineup ever more formidable with a guy who can
yeah.
hit homers in that cleanup spot in that 5 hole? Or they've even been hitting them in the 2 hole sometimes. It's a great spot for this team to be in.
So Springer leads the Jays with 64 strikeouts. Bichette has 61. Addison Barger's third on the team with 57. He did it in just 63 games. So like
Mhm.
20 games fewer than Springer and Bichette. And
So
he's,
he'd probably lead the team then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, Vladdy has 53 strikeouts. I tell you what, give me 20 more strikeouts for Vladdy and 5 more home runs. That's a trade-off I'm willing to make. Um, Addison Barger is your third stud of the week. Stud number two, 4 appearances this week, 0 earned runs.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a pitcher. We're going with a pitcher.
4 saves.
4 saves. Yeah. 4 for 4. 5 strikeouts, 0 walks,
The Hoff is
zero
back.
runs. Jeff Hoffman, yeah,
Looking like
is,
April Jeff Hoffman.
it's just
Should we make a
those
thumbnail proclaiming him the best closer in baseball?
might as well. Yeah, Jeff Hoffman has been up and down, I guess, but mostly up. And when he's been up, it's been as good as you could ask
Hmm.
for. He is fourth in Major League Baseball in saves at this point in the season now, behind only Robert Suarez in San Diego, Josh Hader in Houston, and Carlos Estevez with the Royals. They all have 24 saves. Yeah, you can criticize how he's getting it done and whether you wince when he's taking the ball or not, but like we did just sweep the Yankees and took the series against the Red Sox. And Hoffman was a big factor in that. Like those were some back and forth games too.
Hmm.
So zeros from Hoffman this week.
And the K's look so good. I actually tweeted this. I was saying that for a fan base that has dealt with the ups and downs of Jordan Romano over the last few years, it is funny how soft we have become when it comes to watching Jeff Hoffman because I am like a mess every time. And I was a mess with Romano,
Yeah.
but you would think that I would be used to this. I am not. But my God, what a week from our closer, and you love to see it, especially after some of his struggles earlier in June.
Stud number one, George Springer.
George frickin' Springer.
No surprise here. 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, a 480 batting average, and a 1527 OPS, which was
And I've got all sorts of things to say about George Springer, but I'm going to hold my tongue until we get to the topic of just literally talking George Springer. So,
George Springer, third best OPS on the team this week. Would you believe that?
man, this team is putting up offense. Like,
Davis Schneider,
I
remember
know.
him? Called back up 2 home runs this week, 1563 OPS. And then this one, I'm kind of being a wink at the camera about, but Alan Roden, one at bat, got a double.
Yeah.
So his OPS is 3,000.
Yes.
Too small of a sample size to be the first stud for Alan Roden. But yeah, great week from George Springer. Honorable mention goes to also George Springer. That's how
I
good his week
that's how
was.
good his week was. I love that
There you
man.
go.
And you know what? Little tip of the hat to friend of the show, Davis Schneider, because the kid has been through the ringer over the
Yeah.
last year, and to watch him succeeding in these spots that they're putting him in, they've really kind of dialed in to how to get the most out of Davis Schneider, and he's performing, man, and like to a
Mm-hmm.
level where you're like, do we even need to go out and get a right-handed bat off of the open market to sit on the bench and mash lefties? If Davis continues to do this, I don't think we do. And obviously, time will
Yeah.
tell and what his numbers look like closer to the deadline. But he's been incredible since getting called back up. And to watch the struggles he had, it's a real feel good story.
It
It's a
is. It
beautiful thing
is.
to see. The
Um,
Davis Schneider resurgence is real.
Duds this week. No duds.
Hey,
I mean, there could have been.
there could have
If you
been.
really
I
look,
like it.
if
You
you
know
really
what? You're
look at
like,
closely at the numbers on Chris Bassett and Jimmy Garcia, you could find some duds. But we did sweep the Yankees. No duds. You can't sweep the Yankees and then take AL East
you
and
don't
then
you
and then
don't go into
complain about
Cleveland. You
duds.
don't go into Cleveland and win that series, and then into Boston and win that series, and then come home and sweep the Yankees and need to take negative points on your studs and
Exactly.
duds. I love
Right?
it, buddy.
Okay.
Heck
Thank you.
yeah. All right, let's get into Nathan Lucas, who I don't know if you saw that at bat he had yesterday, where he faced 14 pitches. The
Is that the one
guy
he went down the third baseline?
third baseline for a
Yeah.
double to score a couple
Yeah.
runs. This is a kid that kid is probably the wrong term. This is, like a 30-year-old who just was never quite able to get the opportunity he needed. And it felt like the Jays were holding him back unfairly. And my goodness, has it ever seemed like just a very intelligent way of holding on to this commodity. Like earlier in the off season, there's a couple Twitter handles. I'm not going to say names, but there is one in particular, and the kid even kind of knows baseball, right? But 20 years old, so he doesn't have that like perception of what real value can mean, in my opinion. And he was just like, Nathan Lucas, like, get rid of him. Why are we even dealing with this 30-year-old prospect? That's not a prospect, not on my team. And it's just like all I could think is I'm like, man, Nathan Lucas has done nothing but prove he belongs. And yeah, every baseball player goes through some slumps. He's just an above average hitter. He's our fourth outfielder, and he's just an above average hitter. He plays right field, left field, and center field, and he does it well. He constantly sees a ton of pitches. I mean, he proved it with that 14 pitch at bat, but you know what? He sees more pitches than most, which is a great thing to have at the bottom of your order. Nathan Lucas has been able to be put into the leadoff spot when they need him. He's hit number two when they need him to. He's been so good against right handed pitching. It is just another really feel good story to see this 30-year-old lifelong minor leaguer doing what he is doing. And I would argue the best fourth outfielder in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the fourth outfielders on other teams well enough to argue that, yes or no, but I will say he does feel like a step up from Raimel Tapia.
Mm-hmm. Bradley Zimmer. Give me Nathan Lucas over Bradley Zimmer every day of the week. Jackie Bradley Jr. Like these are all of our fourth outfielders over the years here.
So, okay, if he's number four, how do you rank our outfield then?
Well, I mean,
Springer's
obviously,
one right now.
Springer is obviously one right now. Who in a million years, I never thought I'd hear myself say this July 2025, but George Springer number one. I mean, Dalton Varsho is obviously on the IL, but he's our top three outfielder. And then it gets interesting. It's like who is that number three? Like, is Nathan Lucas actually right now with the injuries? He's our third outfielder. I
Yeah.
know we were putting Anthony Santander out there a little bit to open up the DH spot. We were watching, I mean, we see Miles Straw in there all the time. Alan Roden was kind of supposed to be slotting in there.
I think what's going on with this team right now, and I watched Blake, I think had Dan Schulman on the show with Julia
Yep.
just after the Canada Day game. Might have been after we won the series, after that third victory.
Hmm.
But he was pointing out that, like, yeah, it's good to have stars on your team. But like one thing that this Jays team is that there's no holes. And like maybe that sums up this Jays team best is that like would Nathan Lucas being your fourth outfielder and your best guy, or there's just no breaks
Hmm.
through the lineup right now. Like, yeah, okay, Vladdy isn't absolutely mashing. Yeah, that's true. But you also like never, at least right now, get to a spot in the lineup where you're like, okay, easy out. Defensively, everybody is competent or
Hmm.
better, right? Like, I think the numbers on this Blue Jays squad right now that Dan Schulman had said was the entire batting order was of our starters, at least. I don't know if it's for the full 26 man or not. That feels ambitious, but was that everybody had a league average or better OPS. Like
Wow.
everybody's OPS plus is 101 or higher, with the exceptions of Andres Jimenez and Miles Straw,
Hmm.
who are at least elite defenders.
Yeah.
So if most of your guys are league average or better, and the only guys that aren't are pulling their weight defensively, that's a trade-off that you can handle. But that's how you get to whatever we are, 45 games above 500 with a run differential of one. I'm exaggerating a
Yeah.
bit, but you know what I
Obviously.
mean, right? Like,
Yes. Yes.
so
And you know what? I will say this about Andre Jimenez is that to have a guy in that nine hole who's going to run into everyone going to run into one every once in a while. It's not a bad thing. Like even you go back
Hey,
two
he had a
days
good
there,
week this
right?
week too.
He had a good week too, you know?
Andre
So,
Jimenez, 16 at bats. He hit 500
mhm.
with a home run and 8 RBIs. So,
Tough to argue
yeah, he had a
about
good
that
week.
as your 9-hole hitter, right? So
Yep.
the Jays are hot. The Jays are hot, and the Jays are being led by their seasoned veteran, their highest paid player up until literally April ever. Their highest paid player ever up until April.
Hmm.
And George Springer is just making me eat my words more than I ever would have imagined. I mean, Adam, we're so sorry, George. We're so sorry. We said you were washed. Said there's no way you declined for 2 years and find it at 35. That's a direct quote. Uh, Said he's dead money. Worst contract in Blue Jays history. And this is a man who, since June 24th, has 17 hits, first in Major League Baseball, 12 runs, first in Major League Baseball, 5 home runs, tied for first in Major League Baseball, 19 RBIs, first in Major League Baseball. He leads the team with 15 home runs. He has an 891 OPS and a WRC plus of 149. By the way, his WRC plus last year, 94, below league average. And he even had a span last year where he was the worst qualified hitter in baseball. This new hitting philosophy and what David Popkins has brung to the table is working for George.
Yep.
I know everyone buys into different things, but George has bought in, and yeah, he's leading the team in strikeouts. Give it to me every day of the week when he is doing these other things so well. I mean, 15 home runs, Adam. I know we're over the halfway point. If he keeps hot like this, he literally could hit 30 home runs for the first time since he was a Houston Astro. That's fucking
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. All the wish to his health and that he
Yes.
could stay hot. Um, yeah, no, it's good. Numbers are good. I know I was just ragging on the Blue Jays for having a bad run differential. At the end of April, Jays were minus 35.
Yeah,
So
they
we're actually plus 40 since then.
mhm.
So while we've been hot, like it is easy to look at it and be like, oh, they're plus 9. How are they? What are we, 12 games above 500, 10
Yeah,
games above 500? How
11
are
games,
we
I think, yeah.
how are we 11 games above 500 with a plus 9 run differential? But you go, yeah, we're just getting blown out and stomped a bit in April, and then the fact that we were able to kind of hang around 500 while we had a minus 35 run differential,
Hmm.
and then yeah, plus 44 since then, whereas the Yankees were plus 53 at the same time at the end of April and are
Wow.
now plus 100. So they're only plus 47. Basically, so are we the last couple of months. Yeah. This team's firing on all cylinders. It's good.
And even when they do show cracks in the veneer, other areas lift them up, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, their starting pitching has not been ideal. They've had some rough starts in the last month, but the bullpen has just been there to lift them up. I know that we've had some rough moments with the bullpen, but everyone does.
It's a full team effort right now, man. Like, this is the thing is that because I mean, with the exception of George Springer this week and the emergence of Addison Barger, it really has been a lot of like someone is carrying the load.
Hmm.
Oh, like we had that hot stretch out of Chris Bassett at the start of the year, right? 5 starts, 4 earned runs. Like he just looked like he was having a Cy Young season, right? His ERA's ballooned up to over 4 since then. Chris Gossman, I'm not sure that
Gary,
Gary Gossman had a really concerning stretch here and there, but he keeps bouncing back. Like it's just, when the bullpen's down, the starters are going 7. When the starters are struggling, the bullpen's stepping up. When Vladdy's not doing it, Addison is. When Addison's not doing it, David Schneider decides to. Like it has just been a lot of like, okay, there is depth. This is good. Like it's good. I wish we did have more star power at the top for sure. Like would it ever be nice if Anthony Santander was sitting at 17, 20 home runs right now?
Hmm.
Like, you just feel better about everything. But yeah, no, it's good. Top through bottom is like everybody has pitched in at some point. I don't think there's been anybody on this team. Bo Bichette didn't hit a home run for the start of the season,
Hmm.
and then had a great May and most of June. So
Hmm.
everybody's had their stretches. It's been good.
And one thing I noticed when Ross Atkins spoke to the media was he had a little bit of giddy up. He had a
Oh,
little bit of
good.
zip to him, a little bit of hubris. He even brought up, you know what? He could be looking for a Jose Barrios type of trade at the deadline where they go out and get like a big time pitcher and someone who has some term to him. You know, like to hear your general manager say that, it's an exciting time to be a Blue Jays fan. And if you do look at the trade deadline, and this kind of lines up with our next topic really well, but like how all in does this team go? And I mean, right now you lead the division. It might be time to go all in. And it is going to hurt, okay, to go out and kind of get what you need to bolster this lineup to compete to a level where they could come out of the American League. It's going to cost you. I don't know what, and I don't know what's untouchable, but I could see a Ricky Tiedemann moving.
Wow.
And is Trey Savage untouchable? Maybe. Is Arjun Namala untouchable? Maybe. Could I still see one of them possibly being moved? Yeah. Like Ross Atkins'
Yeah.
job is on the line, and to a level where I'm not even sure that making a wild card and just losing in 2 games, yeah, I mean, it might save his job. I mean, he seems to have like more lives than cats are given, but there's some pressure on him to make this a reality. And I think that there is something to be said for a front office that learns as they go. And if they did take anything from the 2021 season, it should be that you can't always be building for the future. Sometimes some chips need to be pushed in.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Um, I still don't think Arjun Amala goes anywhere,
No, neither do
but
I.
I do think everything else is an option. I do think with this depth at the major league level, there are going to be guys that have pitched in that could possibly be on the
Mm-hmm.
move too,
Mm-hmm.
which of the big league players, like I think Addison Barger's not going anywhere.
No, I don't think so at this point.
But other than that, I don't know who's, I mean, like obviously Vladdy, obviously
Yeah,
Springer,
of
whatever,
course.
right? Um, but like Ernie having a great season,
An incredible season.
but maybe you sell high on him. You know what I mean? Like that's where you go, okay.
The other thing to think about too here is, and I'm well aware this is a big time intangible, but you don't wish to mess too much with the chemistry. Again, I am well aware clubhouse stuff is if they're winning, it normally tends to work itself out in the wash,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah. I
even if you
I
do
hear you.
subtract one of those like secondary guys that definitely has mojo in the clubhouse and is a part of the Blue Jays family, if you will, it could hit hard for these guys, but also bringing in a just to use a Blue Jays example here of in 2015, bringing in a David Price, like, do you have any idea what that did for the guys who were here? Right? Like
Yeah.
it is a major boost to the confidence to have your front office believe to a level where they're actually moving assets that hurt. Because you don't move an asset that hurts without feeling like there could be a big payback in return. You don't move Trey Savage unless you're getting a stud. And a stud
So
is going to excite this team.
so what about something like this? Trey Savage Ernie Clement, Eugenio Suarez from the Diamondbacks.
Whew. He's such a
I
pure rental. That's a tough one. I think that's too high.
think so.
I do. But I am also so bad with these mock trades. Like
I know,
I
me too. It's so hard to
it's so tough to
evaluate
judge
anything.
value. Exactly. So um
But if we're selling the future for a push right now, that's
it's interesting because if you're like Ricky Tiedemann and a lower level prospect for Eugenio, I would almost I mean, that's still tough to swallow. A left-handed guy who's 22 years old who throws 100. I hate giving that up, but and it's going to hurt though, right? So like to get value, you need value, and Eugenio would absolutely, my God, man, that would
is
push
he at 25
Santander to
home runs,
hitting like
27 home
sixth.
runs?
Yeah, he's at.
Well, I don't think we're getting Santander back this season. I think he's
Yeah,
done.
that's
He's
possible.
not even swinging right now.
I
Like
know.
he's just fully sitting there. So
Hmm.
I'm not holding my, I think we're more likely to see Alek Manoah play for the Blue Jays this year than we
Hmm.
are to see Anthony Santander.
And
That's
it's
where I'm
funny,
at.
it is interesting because you hear the team talk about it and they're like, hopefully he's back in August, but man, him not swinging a bat is a red flag.
I think there's a little bit of like trade talk leverage. Like you don't want to tip your hand and be like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
that's
we're
actually very
desperate because no, we don't need Suarez. We got Santander right around the corner. Sure, we'd love him, but eh, not the end of the world. But if a team knows we're like, you guys fucking desperately need a guy, price goes up, right? So
hmm
I think that's what it is right now. I think after the trade deadline, we start getting more real answers on it, and I don't think they're good. What about Luis Severino in Oakland? Oh, not Oakland, sorry. Vegas? No, sorry, not Vegas. Sacramento? What are they?
Yes, the A's,
He's
the
miserable.
Athletics. He is
Do you have any
miserable.
interest in him?
I don't know. He was so good with the Mets last year, and I mean, he was a big part of that playoff push and got them to the NLCS and is a very good pitcher with a track record.
So
He's on a 3 year contract, 3 years, 67 million, I think it was. So he'd probably
yeah,
have
so it's 20 million this year, 25 million next year, 22 the year after that.
AAV
He's
of
only
22 and a half.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is only 31 years old,
Hmm.
so he'd be like the youngest pitcher on our pitching staff.
Yeah.
The numbers this year aren't good.
No, they're not.
So his career numbers, like you mentioned, the Mets with the Mets last year, a 3.91 ERA.
Hmm.
Um, this year the ERA is over 5, but if you look at his home road splits, you go, interesting.
Yeah.
So he's miserable where he's at, right? There's the complaints that it's a minor league stadium.
Yeah.
The clubhouse isn't attached to the dugout. So
That
like
was a
if you get
big
pulled
one,
from a
Adam.
game,
You
you got to
probably
go
heard.
yeah, you got to walk
Yeah.
across the outfield to like get out of there, like or anything like
So
that. Like it's just there's no
for
air conditioning, all this stuff.
for everyone who hadn't heard what Luis Severino said about the minor league stadium they're playing in Sacramento, um, one of his regiments, one of the things in his regiment involves when he's starting, he likes to go ride the bike between the innings. That's how he stays warm. And the clubhouse isn't attached, so he hasn't been able to do that. And when you look at his road home splits, you're like,
Can I read
shit,
these now?
maybe this is a pretty substantial thing because he is suffering at home and yet on the road has been good.
So 10 games at home, 8 games on the road this season, okay? At home, ERA of 6.79. That's awful. At home or on the road, however, in Major League Baseball stadiums, 3.04.
Yeah.
And the whip goes from 1.6 on the road to 1.12. Or sorry, 1.6 at home to 1.12 on the road. So huge improvement.
Yeah.
It goes
And
from being like a DFA candidate at home. I mean, not for because of the contract, obviously not, but I mean, like that's you're worse than Bloden and Francis
mhm.
at home, and then on the road, you're an all-star. Those are all-star numbers.
A few interesting things about the Oakland Athletics. I mean
Fringe all star.
I mean the Sacramento Athletics. They are spending more than they have in a long time, and they don't like it. Just sign Brent Rooker to that big extension. Mason
Well,
Miller,
part of this is to avoid a grievance with the MLBPA, right? Like they
yes.
had or the MLB. I think it actually is both of them. There's an aspect of them not spending enough considering what they get in revenue sharing.
Yes. So for them to continue to get what they were getting in revenue
They
sharing,
had
they
to
had to
spend
bump their payroll up for
payroll.
2025, and they managed to do that. However, come the offseason, they kind of get to reboot. It's like the luxury tax thing. Once you
Yeah,
get under it, you reset it. So that's where they're at. They got over, they reset it. They can
yeah,
go be lowly non-spenders again.
yeah.
They're not going to be ready in Vegas until at least 2028, probably 2029 if we know anything about um,
How big construction projects work.
exactly. Brant Rooker is a very interesting bat. Mason Miller is an incredibly interesting piece in Oakland. And I know I was listening to Blair and Barker talk about Mason Miller yesterday and the fact that a lot of general managers around the league view him as a possible starter. They think he has the stuff to be a starter and that there may be some real value there if you are prepared to spend the prospect capital with the Athletics to get him, that you could put him in your bullpen in 2025 to bolster a playoff contender, and then you could start to move him into the starting rotation, a place where the Blue Jays definitely have an area of need come 2026. Luis Severino, another high paid guy. Is there a world where the Blue Jays, who have done deals with the Oakland Athletics before, this is how they got Josh Donaldson, this is how they got Matt Chapman. In fact, my buddy is an Oakland Athletics fan, and I remember him being like, I think it was last year after Chapman left, he texted me and he was all saucy and he was like, "Are you concerned that the Athletics can't develop a third baseman in time for the hole you have at third right now?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, I kind of am." And then Ernie stepped up. But if Oakland is prepared to move Mason Miller and wants money off their books, maybe you can literally get a Mason Miller and a Luis Severino. If you're prepared to take on the full salary of Severino, you might not need to give up a number one or a number two prospect. Maybe you can get away with trading Ricky Tiedemann, who still has incredible value. He's just coming off of Tommy John surgery, still youthful, 22 years old, still showed that he has all the stuff. And I don't know where he's at in his rehab. He is throwing off a mound right now, but he's still far enough away that I don't think we're going to see him in a rehab assignment till probably September, probably the end of the season in Buffalo. We'll see him again. I don't know. Maybe there is a deal that you could make with the Athletics that really bolsters these area of need with Toronto, and you're not going to give up Yasavich and Arjun Namala. I don't know. Drop your comments, everybody. This is an interesting topic that I did want to hear from you, the grounds crew, right? The farm system. Who's untouchable in your mind? What do you want to see the Blue Jays go out and get? Do you have names? We'll touch on it in mailbag if you're after a Eugenio Suarez or you've got your eyes on Rob Ruffnut Schneider in Boston. You're after, whoever it may be. Drop your comments and we'll definitely dig into this next Tuesday. I guess Wednesday is when we'll be releasing it. So, all right, let's move on to this Angels series and the upcoming schedule. Now, they've got 9 games left, Adam, before the All-Star break. And you know what's funny is we were talking about this team could absolutely be 10 games above 500 come the All-Star break. And holy shit, we are so far surpassed that right now. They're 11 games over right now as they go into this series against the Angels, the Athletics, and the White Sox.
No, this has the makings of
Yes.
a absolute letdown stretch here. This is a cliche in sports, and the Blue Jays, my entire life, have been kind of in that boat of like you play up to your competition and you play down to your competition.
Mm-hmm.
And we just can't afford to do that. Like, if we're going to be serious threats this year, this is not the time to take the foot off the gas. and start coasting. Like there's definitely the
If a
emotional
if a
high
division
of
championship, you're right, Adam. If a division championship is the goal here, if we want to be the kings of the AL East, there's no way that they can not at least go 5-4 in this next 9 game.
like at a minimum has to be 5-4. Like
Minimum.
six and
Six
three
and three
is
is a
just
win.
winning every
Yeah.
series.
And I'm fine with that.
Set 7-2, you start to go, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you sweep one of those series and you win
Yeah.
the other two.
Yeah.
mm, you know, Now you're at a spot where if the Yankees continue to like
Scuffle.
falter, fuck, we're going into the All-Star break with a 5-game lead on the Yankees and maybe a 2 or 3 game lead on the Rays because I
Hmm.
feel like they're pacing us, right? Like
Yeah.
they're staying as hot as we are. But this is the soft spot in the schedule that you'll look to thinking usually, okay, we're going to be around 500 and then we got those 9 games before the All-Star break and we can, scrape a
Pile
couple
up some
together. But it's
wins. Yeah.
like, yeah, so let's still pile up wins. Like you got to beat up on the bad teams, man. So let's fix that run differential that we keep looking at, right?
I really, really would love to see them go in to Rogers Center tonight and no doubt this first game against the Angels. Stay hot. I know
Would
that
that
the
be a
Angels
statement, man?
the Angels are hot themselves. They're
Six
putting
and four in their last 10. Yeah.
yeah, 6-4 in their last 10. They are, I think, a game and a half back of the last wild card spot. They're right there chasing down the Mariners. They put Kyle Hendricks on the mound tonight. He's got an ERA of 4.66 in 87 innings pitched. Seasoned veteran Kyle Hendricks. This is a soft tossing lefty. Tends to be the Achilles heel of the Blue Jays, even though they should mash against him. And then you got Eric Lauer for the Blue Jays, our best starting pitcher on the mound, a 2.60 ERA there in 45 innings, a whip of 1.07. Eric Lauer, man, he doesn't give up hits, he doesn't give up walks. He's got 45 strikeouts. I mean, not to overstate it and say he saved the season, but he's borderline saved the season for this team.
But this goes back to like the weird,
Yeah,
and this is where like I am worried about this team because there does feel like a lot of like how the Rays have just always been able to like, oh yeah, we're just gonna get rid of Blake Snell because we have another guy. We're just gonna get rid of Charlie Morton. We have another guy. Like you go, how long can they keep doing this?
yeah,
And like before Eric Lauer, it was Easton Lucas, and like before Easton Lucas, like it was just we keep going through this like, okay, is Eric Lauer for real? Or is Easton Lucas, Easton Lucas looked untouchable through the
yeah,
first 2 starts. And now he's like, I don't want to see him ever again. You
yeah.
know? Like,
No. And obviously,
uh,
neither do the Blue Jays because he has not been called back up.
so like with Eric Lauer has been absolutely a godsend,
Hmm.
but I would still love to see extra starting pitcher so we don't
Yes.
have to count on Eric Lauer having a Cy Young level season
Caliber
for us,
season.
right?
Yes.
So it does feel like it's a matter of, and I hope I eat words on this. Like one of my favorite things to eat is words.
Hmm.
Believe it or not, for a guy my size, you'd think no, Big Macs, but no, I like eating
Yeah.
words. Um,
Especially your own, you know?
I love them. They taste so good. Anyways, the it does feel like it's a matter of time before the clock strikes midnight on Mr. Lauer, and hopefully that's not tonight. But
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And then
But
tomorrow, the
yeah,
Blue
a
Jays.
statement game against the Angels right here would be
Yeah.
huge. Like, because it just does have all the writings on the wall of like massive emotional team bonding victories to sweep a 4-game series against the Yankees. Like, when's the last time we had a 4-game sweep against the Yankees?
Bro, I don't even know, man. That
Right?
we should have looked it up, but yeah,
Someone in the
I
grounds crew, let us know for
yeah.
mailbag. Um,
Just just an incredible series and you're right, man. I would love a statement game tonight. It would
yeah,
just be
just come
so
out, win
great.
11-1.
Yeah.
Let's stay hot. Let's keep the bats moving.
Max Scherzer still lined up to start tomorrow. Supposedly his thumb's feeling well enough to go again. That's going to be an interesting game just to watch how he has recovered and where he's at. And then you see
Hmm.
Kevin Gausman take the mound for the final game on Sunday afternoon against the Angels before they head back out on the road. So again, it would be so great to see them win this series. The Angels are 43 and 43. They're a 500 team. And the Blue Jays currently sitting 49 and 38, 11 games above 500. These are the sort of series you got to win. And I'm feeling good
Agreed.
on that. We'll say thank you so much, everybody. This has been our 5 year anniversary episode. I can't believe we've actually done this for 5 freaking years, Mr. Max. So, like, congratulations to you. And
You too, sir.
yeah, wow. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for following along. Feel free to drop your comments below here. We'll tackle those in mailbag. All the best, everybody. Go Jays.